Why is it loading so long?
Hey y'all, happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday, Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Hey gang, I'm enjoying the sunshine, so forgive me if it gets a bit rowdy here.
Oh, no, that's no, all good. It's a pure Catalyst community, crazy on the moment, intuitive, trying to figure things out. Nice, then let folks in then actually. Yeah, bunch of people in the main room. That's nice. Lots of people here. I see Greg with us. Nice. I can see Piotr from Techstars joining as well. Florian, Edward from RedSwan, Pavel, Jordi, Dorian, Tim, Carlos, Yuri, bunch of good people here. Welcome, everybody. Nice. Then, let's kick this off. Happy Saturday, everybody. Thanks a lot for taking the time in this crazy Catalyst Cardano governance voting experience. We saw in the past a lot of attention, especially not in the past, recently, a lot of intentional engagement around your guys' proposals, meaning the shortlisted proposals from the partners and integrations category in Fund 12. So we put some community folks together and said, hey, let's try to figure out a nice format to give a special space and ideally introduce you across multiple communities in the Cardano ecosystem, because there are a bunch of these communities and it's a challenge to reach out to all of them. Therefore, thanks a lot for folks joining in today from Andamio, from Seedon Labs, from Socius, from Swarm, and Catalyst folks here as well. Chris and Danny, lovely to have you with us. The whole thing will go in 2 phases today. First, we will have a really nice intro context setting from Chris and Danny on the partners and integrations category, doing some about the history, about the current state, and maybe about its future, before we go into interviews with you guys. So we have quite some Cardano folks here who know very well about the ecosystem and who may have very specific questions to you. Meaning we don't go with pitches. All of you gave already some pretty awesome presentations in a bunch of community events. Thanks a lot for this already and for taking the time. And yeah, that's pretty much it from my side. Then, first point, Catalyst Fund 12, Partners and Integrations category. Chris, Danny, how did that thing actually came to life?
Hey guys, first of all, thanks for everybody taking time out of their wonderful Saturdays and away from their families to join us and do this. It is an important moment. I really feel like we've hit a watershed and we've now stepped across that stream into a really new era. So where did this all come from? Well, I think, we can all recognize that the Cardano ecosystem, first of all, is nothing without its community. And we've done a fantastic job and a tremendous, really effort to bring new people and new ideas and perspectives into this ecosystem and to make these new folks welcomed and to be feeling like they are part of this community. But one of the things I think that we can all recognize is that we've somewhat suffered from not having the right exposure to whether it's deep-pocketed investment funds or these sorts of big brands, flashy partnerships that we've seen over the last 10 years in the crypto space come and go between organizations and different ecosystems. We haven't really had too much of that in Cardano. But then I think, when we look at how it's panned out in other ecosystems, in a lot of cases, it's just lip service to the actual idea of industry adoption, disruptive innovation, and actual real world partnerships. All too often do we see these sorts of partnerships in other ecosystems, they don't really amount to a whole great deal of substance, in my personal opinion. And so when we're looking at how to improve the status quo, it's, well, what can we do to really encourage people to actually concertedly build on Cardano? How do we get them to come for the ADA, but stay for the community, right? So when we were looking at this, it was how do we facilitate some of these really great next steps, and where should we focus some of those attentions and efforts? And for me and for I think the Catalyst team, it sort of boiled down to a couple of really key things. First of all, we need to find those sorts of partners that are going to provide a platform for Cardano builders, entrepreneurs, and founders to grow their capabilities and competence and effectively become part of the traditional investment cycle. So how do we help those that build ventures and accelerate startup entrepreneur enterprises so that they are more investor ready? So this idea around acceleration is absolutely key to this category. The second is around how do we bring on the next billion people to be able to understand that there's a lot of great value in the Cardano ecosystem? How do we motivate adoption and amplify awareness? So this is where the marketing pillar has come from. And then thirdly, how do we try to do something of a blend of the two, but really enable those industry leaders to be able to pilot Cardano-based technologies and solutions within their own contexts and help to co-promote, co-market, and co-build this next evolution of the Cardano ecosystem together. So that's where I'm coming from. And what I would say is, just before I go on, I was not expecting the response. You know, you sort of sit there and you try to manifest what's going to come as a result of this. And oh boy, were we surprised by who actually showed up. So first of all, thank you for every single applicant and shortlisted member, for that matter, for stepping up and putting your hat into the ring. It really means a great deal. So yeah, Danny, anything else you want to add?
Danny is on mobile right now. Not sure if he can chime in. Let's give him a second. But a question, actually, Chris, like on Cardano community side, we definitely look for long-term partnerships, right? So everybody else would assume actually that these first proposals are like just the first step, opening a door to some exciting projects. So what can we expect for the future a little bit of the partnerships and integrations category?
Yeah, well, I think, okay, so this is how it is. This Fund 12, we're going to fund 4 to 6 projects, most likely. And by the end of Fund 12, we'll probably be close to being somewhere towards 2,000 projects funded in Catalyst since we started. Well, wouldn't it be wonderful if we got to the end of this year and 1%, just 1% of those 2,000 projects were focused towards the biggest and boldest and brightest opportunities in this ecosystem? Wouldn't that be an amazing thing to accomplish? Now, in order to get there, we've got to go from 4 projects to close to 20. So I will leave it at that, but anticipate that Fund 13 will intend to fund more of these sorts of projects.
Nice. Thanks a lot. And we see Danny is with us as well. Oh, legend behind Catalyst. What is your take on this category?
I had some troubles with my computer, but like now I cleaned up. That's what happens when you have thousands of tabs open and then things just start breaking down. Yeah, I just like to echo everything that Chris has said. I think it's a fascinating moment. I think it highlights the intention of like where I think everybody's aspirations have been when we look like 3 years ago, like when we started, you know, you could arguably say the first cohort in Fund 12 had actually 12 funded projects, right? Like that's the number that it all started. And if I don't take into account like the pioneers from Fund 0, Fund 1, which were non-funding rounds, and shout out to them because they essentially kickstarted the whole process. But we went literally from 12 funded projects altogether in Fund 2 into now having, let's say in this specific category, 12 shortlisted projects. And this is also to say that the breadth and the depth of applications in this category was just phenomenal. And I think as Chris has mentioned, like I don't envy the job of the short list panelist that was trying to figure out way different options and make, you know, as wide of a distribution as possible in terms of different use cases and readiness levels, because to go down from 70 projects down to what we have now, 12, arguably a lot of great projects are not going to make the list. And that it's nothing to say that those projects are not great or they couldn't achieve great things. But sometimes, you know, like we got to kick off a pilot. This is where we are in this first instance. And it also means that there's going to be future opportunities. So I also would like to just mention to everybody who didn't make the shortlist that they're highly appreciated. And I think all the ideas were really carefully looked at and vetted, and hopefully they're going to come back again, whether in Catalyst or elsewhere, right? The Catalyst is only just one avenue in the ecosystem. I think that's what we often forget. But again, it's fascinating to be here now 3-4 years later, where now we're getting in the position where Catalyst is maturing to such a degree that we're starting to see the level of seriousness and engagement from the wide variety of applicants and the kind of interest it generates. Because I think traditionally we've all operated within a smaller bubble of a Catalyst, within a greater bubble of Cardano, but we have all of us aspirations in this ecosystem to help bridge the real world impact into the blockchain and into the Cardano ecosystem. And I think it is going to be a wonderful avenue. It is the first, it is pilot. We're going to learn, we're going to iterate from it. And then for Fund 13, you can probably expect, again, a better iteration of this. And we're going to see and observe, just like as we always do in Project Catalyst. Welcome to the experiment. Fasten your seatbelts, because it's going to be a fun ride. And I appreciate everybody's time here today. But I'll shut up for now, because I don't think you came to listen to me, but to the stories of all the projects which are in the running. So I'll yield my time.
Thanks a lot, then. Beautiful intro. So we can definitely expect the future of the partners and decorations category. Also, given the fact we have 12 shortlisted proposals, only 4 will make it. So also keep in mind, also especially in this session, what we see already is, and by this congratulations to everybody, we can see on live stats the voting engagement around proposals, and all the proposals on the partners and integrations category are leading. Most of you are in the top 30 of more than 1,000 proposals. There's an insanely good score. You gain already a lot of attention here. And what we can see as well is that the strongest of these projects are partnerships where multiple Cardano community projects come together to build a collaboration with a new project coming. So in this regard, look as well in the session, don't pitch so much the proposal. Maybe speak more about your larger vision and ambition. Tell about where you're coming from and where you are heading to, and why should Cardano community projects be interested to work with you and team up, and being maybe well positioned for Fund 13, because Fund 13 is coming and we know it's going on. With this then, to your guys' story. With who do we want to start? Yoram. What do you say, Seira?
Well, I can start with asking some questions. Yeah. All right. So hi everyone. My name is Seira. I'm the founder of Socius, and also I'm a Cardano ambassador and interim constitutional committee member. So here I'm representing the voice of the Japanese community. So that the Japanese Cardano community is the biggest Cardano community in the world in terms of the number of members, but also its holdings. And all of these shortlisted projects have caught the attention of the Japanese community. We've been talking about these projects, and there have been some questions in the community. So I will be asking questions, mostly coming from different community members. So don't shoot a messenger. The Japanese people are very known for very meticulous, like detail-oriented. So there might be some detailed, more technical questions, but please don't shoot the messenger. Okay, so first, I wanted to ask the FC Barcelona team some questions, right? So this is obviously probably the most famous project so far, I think, in terms of the tally numbers. I think it's got a lot of attention. I just wanted to ask a few clarification questions. So I think you were obviously a global brand and you have lots of fans all over the world. And you could have chosen any blockchain that you wanted, but you chose Cardano in this case. And I know that there were some connections with uranium, plastics, etc. But set that aside and comparing. Of course, you did your due diligence to compare different blockchain networks. Maybe you've seen like Ethereum and other blockchains. And why did you choose Cardano? And what are, in your view, what are the strengths of Cardano? And in your research, if there are weaknesses, then we would love to know. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jordi Montpart from FC Barcelona. I'm Director of Research at FC Barcelona. So thank you for the question. I think it's quite, let's say, important to explain why Cardano. But let me explain a few things first about FC Barcelona that will connect perfectly with your question. I mean, you know that FC Barcelona is the biggest multi-sport club in the world. It's not only about football, it's about many sports, but it's not only about the sports, it goes beyond sports. We like to say that we are more than a club. To explain this, I will explain a couple of things. First, we have almost 500 million fans registered in social networks. But I mean, it's not about being the biggest, because we are very big. It's about being unique and in some sense being decentralized from the very beginning. What do I mean with this? Is that the club has 124 years of history, and it's a club that belongs to the members. So we are 150,000 members, and we are the owners from the very beginning. So we are already a physical DAO, if you want to say it, from the very beginning, and we plan to be like this forever. It's something quite unique. Only a few clubs in the world they work like this, and for us it's about this, but also it's about how to do our local culture being open to the world. What do I mean with this? We have football, but we have also sports that are local sports, and it's super important for us to pay attention to them. It's not only about men; it's also about women. We have the best women football team now in the world, with a couple of players, Alexia Putellas and Aitana Bonmatí, that they are amazing. They are the best players in the world. And we try to do all these things that we do, not only, let's say, the physical space, but also the digital space. And so we started 2 years and a half ago with a company that belongs to us that is called Barca Vision, and we got into the Web3 space. So we started with some NFTs in sustainability, but also some top NFTs that we call masterpieces. One devoted to Johan Cruyff, another one devoted to Alexia Putellas, the best women player in the world. So for us, these messages of community, women, sustainability is not that we want to go there. We are already there. And we started conversations with Cardano Foundation through Andamio, and with the support of plastics, and we both got in love with our values and full alignment. And then in this proposal, we have added N Maker and also women in tech, and I think we do a perfect combination to do what we want to do, is sending this message of education, sustainability, empowerment of women in sports, but also in technology.
Nice.
Yeah. Seira, can I add something about that as well?
Of course.
Okay, so I mean, obviously everything that Jordi mentioned is kind of the way they are coming and where they are coming from. So this is why it was easy for us to connect, obviously. But it's also came from a need. I mean, the way they describe what is their need and what they are looking for, and was kind of a perfect match to what we can offer them in terms of infrastructure to the social network built from Cardano, but also in terms of the partners. So we didn't, going from Web 2 to Web 3 is huge, and they did some trials and so on, and we didn't come and offer them one specific solution. We tried to offer them an ecosystem. And I think this is also the combination and the connection that in this specific proposal. We try to keep it still very focused now, but there's many opportunities around that. So yeah, I just wanted to add that. So it came from a need that actually we are able to come with an ecosystem of partners and actually answer what they were looking for, which is using their social network to empower their fans and I think that's also very important.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for these answers. Really appreciate. Obviously, we appreciate your choosing Cardano. And just quickly a follow-up question on this. So besides the values and culture and everything, the technology itself, Cardano's technology, which is quite different from maybe if you are familiar with EVM systems. So for example, I saw that in your proposal, you explained that there will be some on-chain contribution, on-chain reputation management system, and that will be managed through NFTs or tokens. And on Cardano, we don't have soul-bound tokens, SBTs, like in EVM systems. And so what we have is Teleprism developed by IOG Steam, a Teleprism, or Hyperledger Identis, now it's rebranded. And we have DIDs and VCs, verifiable credential, that will and replace SBTs in other ecosystems as well. So my concern is that you have 70,000 active members on Discord, and they will get this on-chain reputation through NFTs. But on Cardano, NFTs are transferable. You can just transfer your NFTs to anyone. So like on-chain reputation should be bound to an individual, not transferable. And on Cardano, it's not. It's very difficult to do it. So my concern is that if you have a lot of members, you're getting traction, then there will be always people who are trying to get in the system. And how did you how are you going to mitigate that risk? And with that mindset, like what's that conversation, like Cardano versus EVM systems? Was the conversation part of your decision to choose Cardano?
Yeah, obviously I will have to jump in here, Sarah. So let's start with the Andamio team, a very, very strong technical background in the ecosystem. Start from James from Gimbal Labs and Jingle from Ash and Mix and many other people. And we built on Cardano for the last 3 years. So Andamio chose to develop some technology in a very unique way in their infrastructure. And obviously we are aware to the different solutions and technologies in the ideas, but we build quite a lot of interesting technology in terms of layer 2 and other solutions. We choose, the team chose NFTs, and we are doing some very unique stuff around the NFTs, and we are going to connect them also in the future to the ideas. It's not disconnected. But I think, for this initial project, I'm not sure that that's the so that it's not true, but I mean, basically there is again a very strong team, and we choose a certain path to Andamio, which is very unique, and we're building quite unique technology there. From people that know very well the Cardano ecosystem, and obviously Barca in that sense. I mean, on this specific item, I don't think that was the due diligence or the key. They partner with Andamio, which will offer for them the solution that they need, right? And that's, I think, again, when I speak about ecosystem collaboration, I mean, and where they're going into Web 3 is we as an ecosystem will bring the best solution to solve the problems, and we will need to solve if there will be challenges, and probably there will be as we scale to millions of users. There will be challenges, and we need to solve them and connect to the right ecosystem partners to solve. But I think Andamio team and quality of the team and knowledge in the ecosystem and connection to the ecosystem is well established and very strong, and we can definitely provide the solutions for them in the best way.
And Seira, just one thing, probably you will say that I'm not answering your question, but let me say something, is the first step working together. So we will have a lot of learnings working together, and probably many things will be not exactly, let's say, optimized and perfect, but is just our first step working together, and we'll do it through Discord with the feedback of the users, because Discord is also nice as a community in the sense that people create content, people discuss, people provide the feedback, and we'll do it there. in order, let's say, to have especially this feedback to improve and do things better.
Thank you. Thank you. Really appreciate it. And I know the team behind Andamio, Yoram, Nori, James, Jingles, and they're great people. So you're in good hands. And yes, thank you. Thank you so much for choosing Cardano. And I wish you all the best. And so the Japanese community, we have a lot of questions for you, and I share some of them, but we would love to have another opportunity to have a chat with you and collaborate with the Japanese community as well. So thank you again.
Just have one closing remark. One is, again, the 70,000 is just because they opened for one day the Discord server and they got 40,000. So they kind of stopped it. They can get probably very fast a lot of numbers, as you can imagine, as in the other channel. And again, the last message that I'm saying, we are using infrastructure, Cardano infrastructure for the Barca social network. Now, we say it again, we're using Cardano-based infrastructure to facilitate the Barca social network, which is huge. And it's multi-year program. It's not going to finish in the end of these 12 months. Just wanted to mention that as well. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. And when we are a little bit on the technical side, actually one question turned to Checkpoint, because you are highly technical in this regard as well. And after this, I would love to address a short question to Carlos from Brave as well, because it goes a little bit in the same direction. But Checkpoint, well, what brings you here to us? And maybe the same question as Seira asked. I hope you did some due diligence on Cardano and you informed yourself well on the tech infrastructure and what is feasible, where are limits. And what was your decision actually to say, okay, let's figure out Cardano? What risks do you actually see for itself? And yeah.
Okay. Hey guys, thanks for the opportunity to present and speak. And Felix, thank you for the question. In terms of what puts us here, I would say, generally speaking, our vision is to reproduce what we did 30 years ago. 30 years ago, Gil Shwed, our CEO, invented the stateful firewall, kind of was one of the inventors of the cybersecurity industry. And we see a similar vision, similar path to Web3 and public blockchains. And instead of checking, any packet in the network, we'd like to check any transaction and identify and prevent malicious transactions, malicious attacks on wallets, smart contracts, whatever it is. Now, specifically for Cardano, I have to admit that I've been in the blockchain space since 2017. I've been building in Ethereum and in Cosmos, and I've never got to deep dive into Cardano. And I'm very thankful for Yoram to bring up the opportunity for us to really look into it. And the more this has been quite a process until this now. Like for us, even between Fund 12, we were in touch with Yoram, and Yoram put me in touch with a lot of stakeholders in the ecosystem. And the more we learned about it, the more I liked it. I liked it decentralized kind of ethos. I really appreciate, the stance it took on staking versus like a proof of work very early on. I think in a lot of ways it's a pioneering network, and the way we see it, we'd like to help Cardano get to a state where they could credibly say that they have a security advantage over other blockchains, and therefore get a lot of companies that would be traditionally like our client base, banks, big businesses, deploy specifically on Cardano because of its stance on security. So that's kind of the long-term vision. And I hope I answered. In terms of risk, like with any new ecosystem, any new blockchain that we're taking on, we have to do a lot of research to find the specific attack vectors, specific vulnerabilities that attackers are exploiting. But Cardano is quite big. There's enough transaction and there's enough in stake. So we know that the attackers are out there. We just have to put in our research team to kind of dig through and find the exact attack vectors so we can build the checkers and, shine the light on these attacks.
Mm-hmm. And what could go horribly wrong from your side, for example?
Horribly wrong. Like, I don't think it's anything could go horribly wrong for Cardano, for the for the project. But personally, I'm kind of leading Checkpoint, which is a $19 billion Nasdaq publicly traded company, into the crypto ecosystem, the crypto space, and directly into public blockchain. So I'm sure you can imagine there's a lot of digestions that need to take place internally, and like a lot of people are raising eyebrows about crypto. People who don't understand crypto, they may think it's a scam or there's no substance to it. So that's kind of my biggest worry, like how to figure out the legal, the accounting, and put everything in place so we can actually do this together. But I feel, from the other hand, that Cardano is putting a lot of efforts, and I've been in touch with Kriss a few times about how to set this in the right way. So not only Checkpoint, but other like publicly traded and big corporates could work with you guys. And, I think it's a mutual process.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Dan. And because we have a little bit on this topic, Carlos, because Brave browser, I use it myself very often, but actually I don't not yet used to Brave Wallet. Actually, a question, does Brave Wallet support ADA right now?
No, it does not currently support ADA.
What?
It's well, independent of this, I can't really say much, but we are working on it. Charles himself has discussed the desire to have Cardano into Brave Wallet. Currently, the wallet is obviously, well, it began as a fork of MetaMask, so it's ETH mainnet, EVM compatible. We have some preloaded EVM chains, but we also have Solana capabilities. Bitcoin just landed, working on Zcash landing. Filecoin is there. So we are really, we recognize that we are the browser of Web3. And so, we want to make sure to get as many networks as possible so that our users can have exposure to the quality projects that are available. And Cardano would be a great addition to it.
I can see this actually as quite a backlash when you say, oh, okay, you add already because your proposal brings already say, oh, okay, let's promote already on Cardano and everything. But when people say then, hey, but can I have ADA on my wallet as well? This might be then maybe.
This is the first step. This is the first step. I mean, this is the first step. What we're trying to do here with this proposal, and I'm trying to articulate it quite clearly, is so, we recognize at Brave that Cardano is one of the OG ecosystems. And so what we do see is a disconnect with the actual usage of Brave users with Cardano itself, right? So we periodically do user surveys with our audience. So if you do not use Brave or none of it, are not aware of it, we block any kind of third-party tracking or any kind of ads. And so any information about our users are self-reported through our survey mechanism that we release periodically. And so, to give you a sense of the Brave audience, 2 out of 3 own cryptocurrencies of some type. 1 out of 2 traded in the last month. And while, we all know here that the general public will have an idea of crypto as just trading, we know that there is a robust ecosystem of actual dApps being developed that users can actually leverage. And so the idea here of this proposal is to create more awareness with the Cardano ecosystem amongst Brave users. And so while a large branding partnership that we've seen in crypto, throughout the years might be quite good in getting the name out there, that is great for huge awareness, for branding, but there are different goals, right? So what Brave has and what we can always offer is that we do have a specific crypto native audience that will be able to recognize from the get-go what these projects are proposing and see the benefit of them. So this proposal actually doesn't just address Cardano. The intent here is to utilize this ADA to actually get collaborators within the Cardano ecosystem to leverage Brave's ad platform and audience to get exposure there as well. Right. So, what are the overall goals? Like, how do you represent the health of a chain? Right. Generally, you'll look at active wallets. You'll look at active development and developers, and overall popularity and usage. I mean, this will be in DeFi. I mean, there are many different verticals, and I know that there are different ones being built on Cardano's ecosystem. So what do you do now? So this proposal, while high level, might look just for Cardano, as in like we're just going to throw Cardano, ads throughout our ecosystem, is not so much just that. While there will be Cardano awareness ads being placed, we're also going to help and actually engage with the community to look at specific projects in specific verticals that will also be able to collaborate with us and gain exposure to the Braves audience. And we help with all of the steps. They'd have an account manager that is dedicated to them, where we would go through all the steps in creating the new tab takeover, nice brand images, the messaging on our push notifications, the information in our news. Brave users are almost 3 times as likely to be interested in cryptocurrency. It is the direct audience. This is a quality, not quantity play, if that makes sense. We were approaching 80 million users. And right now, still, 3 out of 4 Brave users utilize Ethereum, Bitcoin. Cardano usage is quite low, and we not only want to help address that, but we're also going to be quite transparent with the Cardano community as to the reach and the effect of the ads as well throughout the campaign. So this is not just throwing ADA into a black hole. There are milestones. We're going to present all of that, and that user survey that I also discussed, we're going to work with the community and collaborators quite openly to kind of tailor questions that we can ask. So what do you want to learn from the Brave audience? So you have a legitimate partner in Brave, and just how Brave itself is an OG project in the space and is the browser of Web3. I think that's safe to say. I mean, it's not official, but I walk around conferences with Brave t-shirt on. People just come up to me. So I think that our position is quite sound. And nice. So collaborating with an ecosystem like Cardano with Brave's audience, I think will help to achieve, the overall goals of a fund like this, long-term partnerships, getting exposure for the ecosystem, and really trying to, boil down and get more users to recognize how good an experience it can be to not only develop, but to use Cardano dApps.
Nice. Thanks a lot, man. Well said. Well said. And I see Sarah and Hiram have the hands up. Sarah, you first.
Yeah. Hi, Carlos. Thank you.
Hey, how are you? Of course, thank you for the opportunity.
Good. Yes, so I'm a Brave user, and I only use Brave, and it's amazing. And I'm glad that you're here. And so you mentioned that you're discussing to, so you're planning to integrate Cardano into Brave wallet. But another thing is that, so many Brave users, they like this token reward system, right? So basic attention token. And so there are many examples of other, so some projects that started in the EVM ecosystem and then come into the Cardano ecosystem, like launching their tokens also on the Cardano network. So for example, there is the AGIX token, so Singularity Net. They started with Ethereum and then came over to Cardano, and they're actually focusing more on the Cardano community now, and they're thriving in the Cardano community. And as a Cardano ambassador, and I was just wondering if there is also any plans to have BAT on Cardano.
So in terms of, I'd rather frame this as possibilities rather than plans. And I would put the wallet integration into that bucket as well, because these are decisions and negotiations that are happening right now. There are discussions being had, some quite publicly, some privately, right? So Charles himself has, pinged us and getting Cardano Brave wallet, as I said. In terms of BAT, we see BAT as a multi-chain asset. We've bridged BAT over to many different chains. As I mentioned, Solana, for example, BAT is live on Solana. To do so on Cardano would just require a bridging partner, something that is verified and also trusted. And we could do that. And then once we do that, that opens up a new realm of possibilities, because now Once we have BAT integrated and live onto Cardano, then we'd be able to participate and collaborate with different dApps, different things, NFT projects, games, DeFi, any kind of other type of vertical that could utilize BAT and kind of gain traction there. So, there's a lot of potential to do that if we were to do that. But for the purposes of this proposal specifically, the idea here is to kind of prime and to get more awareness and engagement with Cardano dApps on Brave. And then once we get the results that we're looking for and we get the engagement we're looking for, then we'll look at doing the larger kind of more infrastructure and, crypto-based plays like BAT on Cardano, wallet integration, those kind of things, right? So these are not something that is not happening, but I think this proposal and collaborating with the community is a great first step to really gauge interest amongst Brave's almost 80 million users.
Nice.
Thank you. Thank you. I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Then, because I have a request on short of time as well, Piotr with Techstars. Reading your proposal, very, very interesting one. Techstars investment readiness program for Cardano builders. One question, when I look on the open source part, you say, while you maybe share this statics and metrics, you may not share everything of the whole program, right? And my thing is, the most awesome thing you produce is a nice format here, right? So say, okay, how to build up the thing. And we would have a very vibrant community, which would be really, really interested to say, cool, metrics are not enough. We would like to see a little bit more insights here because it's a decentralized ecosystem. And we have a lot of these lead generators and mentors and business development folks in the Cardano ecosystem. Said, maybe I would vote for the thing if it could be a little bit more open source. But what do you say?
Thank you, Felix. Thanks a lot for giving me the microphone and congratulations on the category. Just a few words about this. You probably spent a lot of time figuring out the one-liner, like real-world integration, but that might be a way to onboard the first billion users to Web3, like to Chris' point in the introduction. So Felix, what I would say is, sharing the post-program metrics, what success is, what is the outcome, how do we keep on working with the Cardano builders after we train them to investment ready? Definitely, because we're happy to communicate about the success of our founders. Sharing upfront, open source, our secret recipe for getting founders there might be a bit more tricky. We did that 400 times. We invested in 4,000 companies. We worked with dozens of thousands of founders around the globe. But we are in a competitive market, obviously. So this is what I was referring to. Sharing upfront probably the sequence of programs, of masterclasses, office hours, the mentors, the identities, how we confuse founders in the first week, how we stop confusing them in week 3 or 4. So we kind of stop trying to mess around with their ID and exposing them to mentors, and how we help them scale and ultimately be connected to the venture space. So they think about product market fit and not about product anymore. This is something that might be tricky to share up front, but sharing the outcome, sharing where founders are at the beginning, at the middle, and at the end of the program, definitely. We can probably align on what does the community want to see, what Cardano token holders, what the Cardano community would like to see, which metrics should we collect at the beginning about those companies, and what should we publicize at the end. This definitely.
Nice. Like, thanks a lot for this already. Another question actually on this, when you say connecting builders to VCs and whatnot, I'm actually myself very critical on this, because to be very honest, I don't give a lot of shit on VCs because very often it's hardcore capitalistic. And when you look on Cardano projects, we have people which build projects mostly because they're idealists. They believe in the things they are building. They're very not good in business, and they still build this kind of, we call them Cardano native startups, right? But these are not forcefully people who want to, let's say, sell their soul for return of investment sort of thing. You have a very new mindset in this ecosystems, right? How do you think about bridging this gap effectively, actually?
Great question. I really like it, and I will actually use a parallel that might be surprising. At Techstars, so we deploy capital. We're a pre-seed investor. We do it exclusively through accelerators we have around the globe, and we have 50 of those. But what we discussed a couple of days ago on X, we help founders from ideation to investment readiness. And helping founders being investment ready for the VC space, we also do that with academics, with scientists, with universities. And to your point, scientists are working for 15 years or great tech, great solutions. They're not doing that for the sake of commercializing it necessarily, capitalizing on that, or having VC coming into the cap table. Nevertheless, universities, national science foundations deploying grants, investing into those great builders, the scientists, the academic-backed teams, they want at some point to commercialize it and impact the real world. And so we work with them and we go through the journey I just described. How do we think about product market fit and scale and having users using that technology versus only focusing on this is a great product? Indeed. And in a lot of those cases, we're not connecting to the VC space. We're just connecting to other sources of not dilutive capital. We're defining with them what's the business model. How do you onboard your first customers? How do you ensure they pay for that? And how do you build a sustainable business so you can keep on building the tech and the science-backed tech on the Web3 tech you love to build? It's not necessarily connecting to the VC space because not everyone is a candidate for venture capital. And not every venture capitalist is equal. In our case, it's purely pre-seed stage checks, and we only help founders at the very beginning. This is where we're good at. And there's a lot of other VCs out there in the market. Obviously, some are hands-on, some hands-off. Some are founders friendly, some less. In our case, it's about how we ensure what you're building as a founder will get traction and will be used by someone. This is what we're focusing on. And we can talk about product market fit, being able to fundraise, or just being able to find not dilutive sources of capital.
This was a beautiful answer. Thanks a lot. Happy that you look on a very diverse and from many different perspectives and angles on this. You know your job very well, that's for sure. Well said, sir.
Can I comment on that? So I've been actually on the job only a year and a half, but I've been a founder for 15 years. So I went through those builders of yours and the 1,500 or 1,600 companies you invest into through the Project Catalyst. So I've been there most of my life. I know exactly what it is to build something I love and then to understand, oh, maybe Felix actually would like the product to be different so that you would use it. So yeah, this is where, to your point as well, Felix, at the introduction, maybe we stop talking about our proposals and the why we're doing what we're doing. Maybe that's an answer to that question.
Beautiful. And Jordi, I see you have your hands up.
Yeah, I wanted to add something which is quite personal. Is the following? You know that I'm director of research at FC Barcelona, but I'm there since 2 years and a half ago. Before I was university professor in physics, in quantum technologies, and AI. And I love your answer in the sense that, come on, Cardano is very well known by security, by doing things very well done in a scientific approach. Okay, and scientists. That we want to be close also to people. We need also this support from companies, in this case Cardano, to do this path from, let's say, from ideas very well formulated, very well implemented to, let's say, to real products and services. And this in this sense, I love the answer that you gave. Yeah, perfect. That's all.
Thank you, Jordi. Muchas gracias. Bon dia. I live in Barcelona, actually, so I'm a huge FC fan.
Bon dia. I hope that you're a Barca fan also.
I am. And I'm Polish, so we have all of the Lewandowski jerseys, obviously, from my son.
Nice.
But to your comment about quantum, if I can just 30 seconds on that, we are not teaching scientists more quantum than they know. This is not what we do. We focus on how to turn the skills they have into adoption, essentially. And we have great Web3 mentors and work with a lot of Web3 companies. But Felix, what would give founders is not focusing on, hey, we can actually help you tweak your Cardano-based product so it's better. Now we help you take the most out of it, whatever you want to take out of it.
But because you said the word quantum, I should say that you should be careful with quantum scientists because we will break all the security. So you should be careful with us. Yeah?
Much agree. And thanks a lot for hey, let's make this order. Who backs up the best others proposals? Jordi, you beautifully backed up your proposal, actually. That's so nice. This was well done. But then thanks a lot on this already. Best of luck to Techstars. And also, don't worry, guys. We have like a open session. We try to keep question answers short and make the round. So coming back to everybody as well. Well, what else do we have? Yoram, Seira, even Hinson, if you would like to address a question to a project here. Ideally, somebody who didn't spoke yet.
I think Glenn, Jordan, Empowa team.
Yeah.
Are you
we're both,
hey, Glenn.
Yeah, there's Glenn. We're both here, yeah.
Amazing. And Greg, amazing.
Yeah.
So this is about Nairobi Securities Exchange, right? And can you tell us a little bit about how you're going to measure the social impact of your project? What are the metrics that you're going to follow?
Yeah, we absolutely can. So we've already delivered houses in Mozambique and are about to launch some of our first homes in Kenya. You know, some of the metrics we focus on align with the SDGs. You know, that's a lot of what institutional investors are interested in. But, you know, to date, we look at things like, you know, how many women-led households are impacted by, you know, by the access to affordable finance. We look at access to basic things like running water and ablution facilities. That's another big metric. And safe, clean drinking water, which is often not common in many of the developing markets. And we look at things like financial resilience. So considering, you know, based on how much somebody has saved and the fact that they have almost some savings in the home, that in the event something happens, and things happen, you know, people pass away, people lose their jobs, you know, how safe are they from being evicted from their house? It's obviously another big consideration. And we also look at climate resilience. So looking at the way in which the homes are built, how likely are they to being able to withstand climate events? In Mozambique, for example, the homes that we helped to have funded there survived one of Mozambique's worst cyclones. So, you know, we consider that to be a win on climate resilience. We also, where possible, try and incorporate EDGE standards. So EDGE is obviously the globally recognized standard for green construction. Now, many of the standards were not written with emerging markets in mind. So in some cases, it's difficult to accurately get an EDGE certification, or it's just unnecessarily costly. But we have members of our team who've been EDGE certified, and we make sure that in the event that a project isn't able to actually afford to get the EDGE certification, that at the very least they build to EDGE standards. And so we can then, you know, demonstrate that the homes are more energy efficient, that they've been built with the best possible technology to conform to international standards. And obviously we want to try and get them EDGE certified, but that may come at future dates.
I think to add one other thing to that, to Greg's point, in our previous project, we got a third party, 60 decibels, Mercy Corps Ventures, and 60 decibels did an evaluation and have supported us in building the necessary requirements to be able to measure that. So they've supported that from that process. So it's helped us to have guided us in terms of how to record that and measure that going forward. So we get better at it as we go. So I think that's part of the continuous improvement process, which obviously this helps without, which will help with this measurement as well.
Amazing. Thank you. Oh, by the way, Glenn is coming to Japan in September for Tech for Impact Summit on the 10th of September, and we are very eager to welcoming you in Japan. And so the Japanese community is very, very interested in Empowa and the project. So yeah, all the best. Just one quick question. So besides this EDGE certification, so you mentioned different SDGs, so like poverty, gender equality, etc. Will you be using pre-existing impact accounting, impact measurement methodologies like impact weighted accounts or Iris Plus metrics, etc.? Or like, do you have any information on that.
As a part of this process is to define that in more detail as to which one meets the needs of the investors on the NSE. So that's very much part of what we're seeking to define in this project, as to which tools would be best required, and to to build on what we've got, to build on customer requirements, and come up with a solution. So that's what we're seeking to achieve. Thanks for the comment. Just one point I'd also just like to make is, if you're aware of the political issues right now happening in Kenya, I think it's a huge part of what Cardano is doing, what blockchain is doing. It's around, and Empowa, pardon the pun, is building solutions, alternative solutions. Because when we see the top-down solutions that are currently being attempted by government, we see how it doesn't work, and we see the resistance to that from the people on the ground. And really what we are seeking to achieve is to find ways to address those issues that everybody's trying to address, because affordable housing is a fundamental issue in Kenya. And this is a key building block to addressing one of those fundamental issues that is really building this part of this unrest in Kenya, because of the taxation that they're trying to do to raise in order to address these issues. So to find mechanisms that we can from the bottom up that address it, alternative sources of finance, etc., I think we realize how important this work is at a global level, how important the whole approach is in terms of what we're doing from a blockchain, building from the bottom up, empowering people, etc., as opposed to top-down central government, all controlled. And I think it's a very key part around what we're doing and as a community.
Yeah, I think the final thing I add in just 10 seconds is, our proposal is really about not only doing research, but also about delivery. But really in the beginning, it's critical to understand what metrics institutional investors are looking at, especially in a Kenyan context, in order to be able to feel confident to invest through the Nairobi Securities Exchange into the products that we tokenize. And so, obviously, globally recognized standards are always the easiest because they're globally recognized for a reason. But we need to understand, on a local context, which are the ones that are going to make a pension fund ready to pull the trigger and invest, a significant capital into the space. So that's where we'll be working with the likes of both EY and the Nairobi Securities Exchange to understand what they need in order to be able to go to their institutional investors and say, all right, here are projects that have the following metrics that we can track, that we can verify because of they're on chain. You're familiar with these, are you now more comfortable investing in the space?
Incredible. Yeah, so Cardano is really into, and I think we are trying to position ourselves as the leader in blockchain for good. And we want many projects like Empowa. And really, I support your project and I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much. I'm jealous you didn't invite me and Glenn, but Glenn enjoyed Japan. It's great. I've been a few times.
Nice. Thanks a lot, Empowa, for the Nairobi exchange. It was interesting. Me as German, I'm a little bit biased because there is a proposal from Stalo, Akko on German steel industry. As a German, I know like steel is culture in Germany. And they are usually maybe not the most innovative, definitely not when it comes to digitalizing stuff. So very curious, actually. Like, you will definitely receive some backlash there, I would assume, from the local steel industry in Germany a little bit on your endeavors. Will be easy for them to shoot you, right? How do you approach this whole thing, actually, of blockchain and steel industry in general here? Robin.
Hi. First of all, thanks a lot for having us here today. And that's a really good question. So the good thing is with Stalo, we work with a middleman, or not with a middleman. We don't work with a neutral entity in the whole steel supply chain, and they are keen of. They really want to get forward out of the whole system. So and they help us to define, or they really help us to find ways to track CO2 over the whole supply chain, to track, but the most important thing is to track CO2 within the company and help them to organize their stores that they can deliver steel, even gray or green, only managing one store, but we have a CO2 store added on that, and then you can pass on the right equals or the right CO2 points. The big point is, as we talked last time, we're talking about 10% of the CO2 emissions in the world done by the steel industry, and that's why we are doing that. If you can change here something really, really small, we will have a huge impact, and that's where we are coming from. So maybe you asked also for why Cardano and how that came. So just if I'm allowed to, just a little story on that. So we worked with Robin together on a project with the Welthungerhilfe. This is like the World Food Program, the big one. I think you know that. And we did a hackathon with them. And we decided, in this case, wow, it would be cool to work with Cardano. That was we did a lot of projects with other blockchains, from Hyperledger to EVM and all that stuff. But we said, oh, let's see, because the Global South, all this stuff. So we said, okay, we want. And the funny thing, or the kicking thing, was for me and for Robin, we asked the foundation for help. 10 seconds later, we had a new developer in our team helped us to do in this hackathon. It was like, wow, it's about people. It's about this. Yeah, it's about how they act, and that's why we love to be in the Cardano field. And so the second thing, which I wrote yesterday in the internet, when I first heard about Bitcoin, old story, I was smashed away, and I want to be in. When I first heard about Catalyst, a community organized treasury, it was like, for me, wow, what's going on? That's something really, really cool. We love, and yeah, that's why we want to be part of that community, and bringing a steel company to Cardano hopefully helps Cardano to get more traction in the normal industry, as we do a lot of industry projects. So we know a lot of industry partners, and it's cool to, we hope that it brings value to Cardano if we go on real world cases with Cardano.
Mm-hmm. And actually, one question is, because your project addressing a very old, very conservative industry who has already a lot of time there, right? And I think you already made some experiences to figure out how to bridge actually a very traditional industry to something like fucking Catalyst. Like, what the hell? There happened something in between, right?
It's when I we as a company, we work in an innovation field. So we do a lot of innovation projects, starting with ideas, design thinking, blah 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 blah. You all know that from this point of view. And when we first met Stalo, they heard nothing about blockchain, but they wanted to have something with tracking and tracing. And then we started first prototypes with them, based on Hyperledger, to implement a tracking and tracing system, definitely for CO2. That was, since starting working with them, they were in this CO2 game, I would say, and they don't want to have this greenwash thing, because they want, if they are passed to that topic, so the business will be killed. So, and if you know what I mean. And that's how it came. So we worked for 3 years or 4 years, really trustful with them in the CO2 field. And then we came, I think it was Joram and Alex who came with, hey, case. And the CEO of Stalo is really open-minded. He's not one of these old steel guys. He's a young person who really wants to change something for the whole industry. So there are a lot of things like digital material passes, which are based on a blockchain, all that stuff. And that's how it came. So it's really a personal thing of the CEO. He's in that thing completely.
Awesome. Thanks a lot for this. And I think this is something important, right? Like, there has to be the commitment from the other side. Because for a company, it's challenging, right? If you want to transition into a whole new industry in this regard, you need to build up capacities. You have to figure out strategy. You have to figure out legal. And it's a risky move, right? And you don't know what's happening exactly at the end, because this whole ecosystem here is still evolving rapidly, right? There's something for the people in the space know already. 4 months from now, most likely everything on the technical side changed already. And you have to build up quite massive capacities actually to manage such things, yes. Thanks a lot, Jürgen, on this already. A question actually then in this regard to Liqwid. Yeah, you're here. Florian. Liqwid, one of Cardano's very first, let's say, successful, public, well-respected DeFi projects. You are going for tokenized real-world assets. It's quite a stream right in Cardano right now. So you have multiple projects looking into this direction there. And from your regard, like, we don't have to say, why did you came to Cardano? Because I think you are already on Cardano, right? You're part of Cardano. So what brings you into this partnerships and integrations category, actually?
So hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. So basically, I believe that blockchain is, for me, the next evolution of internet. And in this sense, it's maybe in 5 to 10 years, all the assets in the world will be tokenized. So if we believe that blockchain is this technology, we need to be able to bridge DeFi with TradeFi. And, you know, my background is working in the Swiss financial services.
Quick question, Florian. Yeah. DeFi, TradeFi. What is DeFi? What is TradeFi?
Okay, TradeFi is a traditional organization as you have today, where you have a kind of gatekeepers, which are the banks, who are making this kind of matching between the lenders and the borrowers. In DeFi, we have this system of pool, where you have this kind of financial inclusivity, where anyone can access to a pool, supply and borrow. And the idea is how you would combine, you would onboard, for example, new assets, let's say the off-chain assets, the ones that live in the real world, put them on the blockchain. Some are regulated, some are not. And this is how you can merge these both worlds.
Nice. Thanks a lot. On this already, but back to the initial question then. Well, what brought you into the partners and integrations category? You have a quite large proposal there.
Yes, so thank you. So my goal is, I know that Liqwid is a kind of tech providers. And if we want to go this next level, I need to partner with established players, because if you think, you know, the big pictures, if you want to have Cardano as a let's say, a financial ecosystem, you need a deed, you need some stable coins, you need someone doing compliance, someone having liquidity and DEX. And we, Liqwid, we provide the liquidity, but we need someone like Apex that have the knowledge, that have the, let's say, the name to attract these kind of real-world assets and to make the process of tokenization and then to put them on the blockchain. So for me, that was always a vision of Liqwid, to go these routes, but I know I cannot build everything myself. I need to partner, and I wanted since always to partner with the best, and that's why I could convince Apex to jump with us, to work with us, and I'm very proud that they are supporting Liqwid in this project of tokenized gold.
Why didn't you went into the products category, actually?
Because it's a partnership. It's much more than just a product. Basically, what we plan to do is to extend, you know, the whole current, let's say, gold industry, and to tokenize this gold and then put it on the blockchain. And we cannot do anything. And another thing, why it's a partnership, because, you know, having the name of Apex that administrates 3 trillion of assets, it's not something small. And actually, Pavel can talk more about it. But for me, it's a really a bigger thing. So that's why we choose to come to partnership, and also because it's a true thing. There is also more money than in a product.
This was a nice insight already to say it's too large for the product category, because I think you guys make a really nice line between what fits well into product and what not anymore in this regard, especially for the already more established Cardano projects.
We cannot do anything, so therefore it's not a product. Yeah, you know, it's a partnership, because you need someone who Apex that has the knowledge of the legal, of the, you know, regulatory for some stuff. You need also the network, because another big thing that Apex, they have a huge network of clients. They have gold mine, gold producer, and also they have this network, and basically this is why it's a partnership with them.
Felix, if I can jump in to say 2 words as well, on the back of what Florian has mentioned. I'm very, very excited to be here. For me, it's a first time. I come from the traditional finance industry, part of the digital assets group at Apex, which is the #1 alternative assets administrator. So as Florian mentioned, we administer a lot of alternative asset funds and structured products. So really in the traditional finance, and we're looking to, in my team, to build a gateway to the institutional capital to be able to bridge into this digital asset class. All right, and I think there's different ways we're doing that. So we're administrating traditional structures. Recently we've been looking a lot at Cardano because of its unique technology, and I think very strong ecosystem are often overlooked by the institutionals. And I think this is also important for us to bring the Cardano on the map of the institutional markets and institutional players to build things using this unique technology. And we did that recently. To trying to search for one of the leading players in this space and strongest teams. So we recently launched an exchange traded product on the Frankfurt and Zurich exchanges, which allows institutional capital to flow into the underlying staking protocol of Liqwid. And I think this is the other side of the coin, whereby we will allow commodity traders, also large owners of commodities like gold, to connect to the liquidity source, which is Liqwid on their platform, and obviously leveraging the Cardano technology and putting the Cardano name in the institutional asset class. And I think this is something that's been overlooked because the retail community is very, very strong. But I'm very, very convinced, also thanks to seeing what Liqwid have delivered from their decentralized finance protocol. I'm convinced that this is also a technology that will be very, very popular and successful for the traditional financial markets, for transforming the traditional markets. And I think, I'm very, very excited to take this next step and putting, as Florian mentioned, the hard real assets, starting with gold as the most popular asset, and I think in the common, easy to understand. But there's a lot of potential to evolve and expand that to all the other assets. And from Apex perspective, we cover all the our core business is really the regulation and administration. So we cover all the legal, administrative parts like valuations, licensing, administration, putting together all the legal structure around the actual physical assets, custody of gold, minting of tokens, publishing the NAV, so the value of the underlying, and also acting ourselves also as a collateral agent for the investors. Making sure that everything runs smoothly, just like in the traditional finance world that we're used to. So from that perspective, I think we're not reinventing the wheel, but we're applying the same skills and workflows that we have in the traditional and that we use for many years in the traditional finance world, and moving that onto the Cardano ecosystem, which I think is a huge step for institutionalizing the space and bringing more builders and investors, of course, to the Cardano ecosystem as a whole.
Much agree. Beautiful set. Well said.
Thank you, Felix. Really appreciate it. And it's amazing to hear the other projects as well. So obviously, everything that Jürgen has mentioned about accounting, ESG, and everything. So this is our bread and butter. So we have about 400 people who are just doing the reporting and different types of parameters on reporting standards for ESG, across different industries. So from metals, commodities to even crypto, right? So I think this is a good sign that we have a lot of projects that actually institutionalize Cardano, and I think this is probably overdue for the technology that you have.
Nice, thanks a lot. And like you said, yes, also to the other projects, like the competition is insane. I would say not competition, but the quality of your proposals and the competition it creates. I mean, really, Danny, can we make this challenge bigger for the next funding round? Having more funds available? Because for those who don't know, the Cardano treasury is currently at 1.5 billion ADA. Catalyst only uses a very small chunk of this. Right now, currently around 150 million ADA from this 1.5 billion sortage. And it's a test, it's an early experiment as well, right? And we will come very soonish to the point where this whole thing becomes much more serious here, because next level of governance is kicking in. But before going on such topics, great though, Yuri, I see with us as well, and Seira, because there's also the thing going on in Japan over there. Once again, Japan has really strong shift into DAOs and everything. Well, what is going on there? Tell us.
Yeah, Japanese government really want to push the DAOs and Web3 technology because they really want to have the initiative for the Web2 space. So, in our partner with our DAO member, Kotaro Motoshima, he has been working with the Japanese ruling company, and he made the law for DAO. So in Japan, we can make DAOs freely, legally, and also DAOs can be publish tokens, and airdrop token is very freely. So this is what is now occurring in Japan, and Japan government really want to make a guideline for making DAOs. So because the local government and the other entities doesn't know how to make DAOs, right? So there is big so maybe the Web3 space is a little bit complicated. So we really have to make the real use case at first, and so we can make the guidelines with the government how to make DAOs on Cardano. So, and the other company now also are building DAOs on Ethereum. That if we so now is the time to letting know there's Cardano choice, right? So yeah, this is what happened in Japan. And we are now, so here around me is a little bit naive because we have to join the big Web3 event in Japan and called IBS. And there were a lot of entities such as the Yahoo and also the NTT, the biggest telephone company, and also the electric company. And they all came to listen about the DAO, right? So
and here,
yeah, this is a situation in Japan. Yeah, sorry, but here's a little bit nicer.
No, all good. The most important came through, I think. But one question actually on the larger thing there behind, because we see Japan is a culture which is very strong already generally in the digital space, right? You have the impression like Japanese kids, they learn to code with 4, And with 6, they open their first wallets, and with 7, they create their first startup, sort of. And we see a lot moving there really in this regard of regulations, right? So in this regard, because Seira, you are very much involved there as well, together with Yuta-san as well, who is, I think, a very strong, participant there over years already. Like, what makes the Cardano community actually unique no, maybe not unique, let's say, maybe the opposite, because I know the Japanese community since years as well, and there is some sort of risk, right? Because the Japanese community, they know each other very well. They know each other since years. They have a very strong asset of ADA, and they have a very strong opinion. So for everybody who wants to have a higher likelihood to get voted and to have success, you definitely want to reach out to the Japanese community, right? That's actually a danger. And now you're transforming it actually on the next level, right? You want to improve performance, with setting up DAOs. So there is actually, I think, quite a risk of the Japanese community establishing itself because you build up the capacity already. And I think there's a risk that you build up a very strong dominance in the space, actually. Because already your current coordination on vote, which the Japanese community, I think they're exceptional in this. They coordinate votes very well, right? You have a lot of supporting events by figuring out, okay, how do you want to act as community? There's no coincidence that you are as well elected in the institutional committee, right? But what do you say to this risk? Because for me, it is a risk.
The biggest problem of the Japanese community is the really too focused on Cardano. Okay? Actually, we don't get a lot of people from outside of the Cardano community. So we really want more younger power to our ecosystem, because there are a lot of the wealth in Cardano Japan community, and they have the power of both. But we really need to have some more community members who can build and who can make the collaboration with the other entities and collaborate with the global members, right? So through our proposal, we will have the partnership with the sorry, I want Seira to help me. So how do we say Seimongakko in English?
You're muted, Seira.
Yes, vocational schools.
Yeah, so we have this collaboration. We have partner vocational schools. So we can onboard a lot of people outside of the Cardano, and through this proposal, we really want to gain the Japanese community, and also we really want to bridge the gap between the Japanese community members and the global community members. So this time, Yuta and the other members quit to make the Japan Nori proposal lead. So now we're really hard time to promote our proposal to the global, but this is the same stage now, right? So yeah, this is the list, and this is what we want to improve Japanese effect. So it is a little bit difficult for me to explain exactly.
Okay, don't worry. Maybe Seira. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Just to echo what Yuri was saying. So first of all, I want to dispel this misconception of Japan's dominance. It doesn't exist. I believe that many of the Japanese proposers are they're struggling in catalyst voting and many other things because of language barriers, right? So due to language barriers, there are so many good Japanese projects building on Cardano, but no one knows about it. Like I just had an interview with Learn Cardano, Peter, and I just, explained some of major well-known projects in Japan, but the international community, they have no idea what's going on, right? So we have like football club that is supporting Cardano, and major publishing company just talking about Cardano on their series of magazines, etc. But no one talks about it, no one knows about it, right? So, and vice versa, like many Japanese community members don't read English, so the amount of information that we can get is limited. So actually, in this fund and in the previous round in funds, many Japanese projects didn't get accepted in Catalyst. And so in order to actually get accepted, winning the votes in Catalyst, you need to get international community support. Only Japanese community support will not get to the finish line. So yes. There's no Japanese dominance. And the second thing is that Japanese people really care about Cardano. And there's no nepotism per se in Japan. So in the sense that, like, I think Japanese project proposers are under the highest level of scrutiny by the Japanese community. So Yuri and I have to go through everything with the Japanese community before they vote on us. Why? Because many Japanese voters have a lot of data. So they're whales coming from the ICO period, and their incentives are aligned with Cardano's advancement, right? So they will only vote for projects that contribute to Cardano. So if they see that there's a little bit of no impact for the Cardano ecosystem, they will not vote. Whether they're friends or whether they know each other through various events, it doesn't matter. They vote for the best projects for Cardano. Yeah.
Yep. And when I said dominance, I didn't want to bring it from the negative side, actually on the excellent side, because so far it's the community which arrives the best to coordinate around priorities. You have the sheets and you have whole processes, and it's beautifully done, right? And you give a really good example here because you arrive as a community to coordinate around your priorities. And for a lot of projects actually coming to Cardano as well, like there was something said in an earlier session, like B2C, but C is community actually. What you can see on Cardano is very often you have projects and projects create their own communities, right? And this is something you definitely want to look for as well in this regard, because this community is like an extension of yourself, which is really good in figuring stuff out. And you will have this challenge to coordinate this, right? So when you look also on integrating with Cardano, like Seira, why I pointed this out and said dominance to 2 points. Dominance on one side, definitely in the performance, the exceptional, what the work there has done. And the second part to the projects here as well, when you look on long-term partnerships in the Cardano ecosystem, there's a whole governance part, like this decision-making. Yourself, you can also represent your project or your collective, for example, as a governance participant. Means, for example, that people can delegate ADA to you as well, with which you can vote on stuff. And for long-term or middle-term, this is definitely something you should start to look on, to say how to build yourself a community around your project and how to engage them in governance. Because you will, in this regard, if you want to build on Cardano, stakeholders here are not only holders in this regard. We have a governance model which will allow you to directly shape the future and how the system actually operates. But before going too deep into this, Edward, I see you have yourself unmuted already. For RedSwan. Are you with us?
Yes, I'm here. Hey, how are you?
Yes, I can hear you. Nice.
Yes, there a question for me?
Good question. Yeah, I like the question. What could horribly go wrong?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
What could go horribly wrong with your proposal?
With regards to RedSwan putting assets on the Cardano ecosystem, I don't see anything that can go wrong. Real world tokenization is, as you were saying earlier, and Chris commented, is big, is definitely bold, and it's market transitioning, has a major impact on market transitioning. As Boston Consulting Group has already mentioned several times, they're expecting to see over $19 trillion of assets, real world assets being tokenized. Real estate is the largest asset class in the world, and we're focused on that largest asset class. We've been doing that since 2018, and really want to bring the benefits of real estate ownership, which is actually wealth creating to the Cardano community as well as to the rest of the world. And so we've been at this for a while. We've tokenized over $9 billion worth of real world assets already in terms of STOs. And I think that as everyone's talking about tokenization, it's important to know that when you're tokenizing these financial assets, you're actually creating securities. And so it was very important for us to get a securities license so we can legally create, issue, and trade on these securities within the United States as well as through Reg S investors around the world. And I think that's important because there's been so many people who've been fined trying to get into the tokenization business and issue securities without a license. So that's number one. And we want to bring this actual licensure and this compliancy to Cardano. So by making an open source token studio, we feel that we can allow tokenization to the Cardano infrastructure and ecosystem for all of its members to participate. And I think that's a very impactful transition for financial literacy and for the community members to create substantial wealth in real estate investments.
Do you know about the idea of network states?
Network
states?
Network sites. I'm not sure what that means.
Network states. That's actually an idea of, say, what is actually the next generation of nation states? And assuming that you have virtual communities which build their own economy, governance, everything, and until a certain point start to translate this into the physical world. Imagine, for example, there would be the Cardano treasury buying ground over the globe over time and building by this a distributed, let's say, accumulation of ground which is larger than some small countries, while also having more, let's say, economic power. That we can see, for example, the Bitcoin ecosystem has more financial power than some very small nations on the earth, right?
No, I agree with that. And I think that by investing in real world asset tokenization, especially income producing real estate, and if the Cardano community really got behind this, which I'm sure you will because you have a very strong community, that would create significant value for the Cardano ecosystem and for its members. And I think also for the Cardano treasury. I mean, you think about treasury management, which I think tokenization of real estate and assets has to do with treasury management. You want to balance out your treasury so you're not all into one type of investment structure. You're blended into different investment structures like many asset managers are doing around the world. And I believe that that's what we're actually bringing to the table, is helping your treasurer be able to invest in income producing assets and impact investing. We talk about student housing and affordable housing in the continent of Africa. We're in 3 different countries in Africa where we're bringing affordable housing and student housing, almost 30,000 units of student housing to the investment community. And we think that Cardano could be a great distribution partner in terms of distributing that opportunity to the rest of the world. And we talked about, at least I heard you mention that what can we do to actually bring billions of users to the Cardano ecosystem? And I think that tokenization, for sure, allowing your users to have access to the same high quality investments that institutions like BlackRock or KKR or any other major institution around the world has, this direct access to high quality investments. will be a game changer for the DLT of Cardano, because now people will be focused on how they can get a piece of that. And if you have exclusive reach through RedSwan to actually access that, I think that'll be a game changer in terms of people flocking to the Cardano community system.
Yeah, I'm Roy. I'm a co-founder of Ed. I just wanted to kind of add some more color to the answer. First of all, we are committing for, as part of this project, $50 million and assets to be minted in Cardano. I believe we are one of the only projects to commit such a substantial sum of assets to be minted directly. Additionally, to your question, how could it be an international community? We do have a project going on our platform that's around eco hotels around the world. So people have both membership around the world, especially targeted somewhat towards the crypto community, where they could have different hotels around the world that are eco-friendly and eco-supported. And in relation to that as well, for example, a big problem we see in the world, all around the world, is a lot of people renting and barely able to afford rent, and they rarely have equity in the commercial buildings they live in. And this is our opportunity to potentially, our long-term goal could be helping some of these renters who are around the world, especially it comes to millennials and younger, to actually have ownership stake in the buildings they live in, and potentially have a say in the buildings they live in, which is very important. It really democratizes how the buildings are occupied, how people take care of buildings. If you have ownership in your building, you're probably more likely to take care of it. The owners like it, and they definitely want some participation in that. What's more is, interestingly, in commercial real estate space, as you know, there's some occupancy rates that are lower. We believe that we could reformat some of these buildings to be more energy efficient, but as well as to figure out for some of these owners who own these commercial real estate buildings, how do you repurpose them either to more residential or have some other things, like, for example, science-based innovation side of these buildings, so they're not sitting empty and burning up so much energy. As you guys know, probably 39% of all energy, I believe, inefficiencies come from buildings in urban areas. And that's literally, if you guys are worried about anything climate related or any energy related problems, it actually comes from commercial real estate. And that's something we could solve through helping owners recapitalize these buildings.
Just so that I was muted. Sorry. Thanks a lot to it. Next generation of real estate. We are slowly living in the future, people. Do you reckon? I mean, 20 years ago, who would have imagined some situation like this? I'm sure nobody. Reality is crazy. With this, did we forget someone? It's Seira Yun. Go for
it. Just quickly, just to be fair with all the proposers. So we talked about the Japanese community, but we didn't really talk about Yuri's proposal. So just wanted to ask one question. How will your proposal contribute to Cardano?
So we can make the real use case in Japan using Cardano blockchain. So basically, we're going to build the dApp to help people help each other. Because in Japan, there are a lot of elder people and low birth rate. So to make the social service sustainable, Japan government really want people to help each other. So we're gonna make the dApps to match the needs and the helpers. And I think you believe that there is the gap between the Web3 technology and the general people. So we are now building the relationship with the regional leaders. So who are very who encourage revitalizing the local city. And we gathered more than the 20 people who is famous in Japan and revitalizing the company and revitalizing the local cities, and also has the real relationship with the local city citizens. So they agree to become the teacher how to use the DApp to the elder people and also the general people in Japan. So if our proposal win and get fund and we make them DApp, so we can make the real use case, which the Takamatsu City pushes as infrastructure to make the real community in the local city. So, is it the answer? And you can understand my full English.
Thank you, Yuri-san.
Thanks a lot. Japanese will definitely be thought leader. Like, I think those you can set up in where right now so far. I think Wyoming in the US you can set up, but not on that many places, right? So you're definitely one of the pioneers, flagships there when it comes about legal implementation. And the beautiful thing is you have the capacity, right? You have a really good and strong community on ground to make this happen. So definitely feasible, definitely impactful. And then we have Tim. I think we didn't came to you yet with IAMX. You have a quite long history already with Cardano, right? I think mostly with Patrick and Maker there as well. A lot of projects you did together in the past. What brings you here and not in the products category? Is it the same as before? Like as mentioned before, also like simply the budget for initiating these partnerships is not enough because you could trans. Okay, go for it.
Number one is we just compared the checklist, what boxes you need to check in order to be in this category. And I think we tick the boxes. And the second is also quite obvious that the success probability in this group is higher.
Because you are there with two proposals, right? Well, at the end, right now, from just looking on this group here and the room, did it play out to say success criteria is still high?
Yes, I think so.
Nice. Okay, so definitely also project which defines once again really nice. Okay, where's the line between products and partners category?
Yes, but we took it serious what you have written there. So I think it's important to follow the rule, but also to be very honest.
Nice. And because there are two proposals, I assume you have a larger picture with IAMX there. Like, who are you actually? Also with Patrick, with NMaker, you did quite some stuff, right? What did you brought us from back then to here now?
Real world market adoption to make something really work when you see a need. So this is the idea of finance to bring a funding source to Cardano projects for the investors that are looking for a legally compliant blockchain investment. I'm also a founder. Money is needed. It's like you have a car, you need fuel. It's like when you don't have money at a project, you cannot grow. So therefore we need to, we would like to help there with this tokenization launchpad that is basically like a managed service. So you can focus on your company, on your product, on generating revenues, but of course you need money. And then you can either, let's say, issue a share, or you can issue a bond, or you can say that you have something like a participation certificate, so they get parts of the money or get partly honors or whatever. And we do this in a way that is BaFin compliant in Germany. This is like the financial authorities here. And because of a certain law that applies basically in every country from the European Union, is with us, it's like we do this in Germany, but then all the projects can get funds from the complete European Union. So we do this in order to bring money into the system and to help Cardano projects to grow, and also to have a good contribution to the footprint of Cardano when they are connected to something that is like on a banking standard, a legally compliant investment, and conform with the financial authorities. So this is something where we have a lot of passion in, and where we're looking forward to bringing this live.
A lot of passion and a lot of experience as well.
Mm-hmm. Project number 2 has the name. Sorry, I'm sorry.
I don't remember. Sorry, didn't want to cut you. Go.
Project number 2 is a project that we are doing together with Clu, and the goal is basically to provide a digital key. So this doesn't sound too revolutionary, but Clu works in the cleaning and security industry. They're a large entity, almost 60,000 employees. They have 4,200 B2B customers, and they then have 35 million employees. And they all need keys to access doors and vehicles. And of course, they have modern systems to do this, but it's quite expensive to do this. And therefore, they were looking for a solution for a blockchain with the boxes costs. Where can we place, let's say, the decentralized trust? And they put this on Cardano, what I think is really, really great. And then to create a key that you cannot lose and that you cannot transfer. So what we did is that we basically are taking the biometrics that everybody has and cannot lose, and putting them, let's say, into a compliant manner in certain DITs on Cardano, so they can use this in order not only to open doors and industry segments and cars, but also everything that is connected with bring your own device and hardware, software. So it's a complete system. It's a large project for us, but it's a solution that is cheaper. What is there right now? It is compliant. It is user-centric, self-sovereign, and all is based on Cardano. And it's basically a blueprint for the complete industry. If you're looking at how to solve the identity and access market, so it's like a single sign-on, multi-factor authentication, and it comes with very solid verifiable credential container sets. It works with basically any DIT method. So we will do this with the DIT method that we developed, and also with a DIT Prism. And with DIT Prism, we also do the BaFin compliant smart contract from the proposal that I mentioned before.
Nice. Thanks for the context there. And it seems like IAMX definitely established itself as a networker project here, building nice connections between the Cardano ecosystem and the outside. A lot of respect to this. It takes a lot of energy, a lot of time, and very often nothing is coming out. Therefore, also so beautiful to have everybody here this call today as well, because there has been a lot of work behind as well. A proposal is not done in an hour. So thanks a lot to this for this very good to everybody. And then he had actually a quite nice question, because we are already a little bit over time, coming to the end. This stuff always takes more time than anticipated. This is crazy. Jordan, you have your answer. Go for it, man. What do you want to say?
Now, I just wanted to comment something, and I think that is something that we all together we should fix, and it's the following: is the underrepresentation of women in technology, and in our case in exports. I think this is super important. And an example, for instance, this meeting, but this happens very often. So I think we should do it, and we should do it, and I think it's a must for two different reasons. It's because, I mean, we believe in gender balance, in equity, and all these things, but also because it's the market to grow. In our case, for instance, in FC Barcelona, only 20% of our fans are women. So it's a reality and it's a market to grow. And we would be very stupid not to pay attention to this. So there is something has to do with the values, gender balance and equity. Another thing that has to do with business. Both go together. Yeah.
Actually, this was the perfect showcase of Danny's idea, because Danny had an idea. Danny usually has ideas, and they are usually good. Because said, okay, we are coming to the end of the call. So if everybody could give a very short sum up, and I think, Jordi, you actually presented a perfect sum up actually for what your project is about, because you took it from a very different perspective. What do you guys think? Try to go in the same mode. Very short.
Yeah, so I would just say, I mean, I don't need to Joy. Joy is amazing, but again, connecting through values and having the Cardano technology to actually facilitate that, I think that's amazing. So, and that's really what we are doing here for long-term collaboration. Thank you, Jordi, and everyone for being here. I mean, incredible projects. Really, bravo for everyone, and thank you for Catalyst team and for facilitating this space. Thank you.
Thanks for being crazy enough. Indeed, because you have to be crazy to be here, especially on a Saturday. Somebody will yell at you later, that's very sure. But well, let's give this a try. Everybody, one really short.
Happy to go next. So just to say again, thank you everyone for the opportunity to present our project. You know, we've been building Cardano now for almost 3 years. We've always been drawn to the ecosystem by its real-world utility, by the promise of real-world utility and impact. And we think that our proposal allows us to achieve both of those. So to raise, you know, there's estimations that the requirement is about $2.5 billion that's needed to address the affordable housing market annually in Kenya. We think our project with the Nairobi Securities Exchange is a step in the right direction, showcasing real-world utility for Cardano and really impacting people's lives on the ground on a day-to-day basis by giving them a roof over their head. So again, thanks everyone for their time. I'm going to go watch South Africa play rugby after this call, and yeah, very well. Thanks everyone.
Nice. Enjoy the rugby match too. Who else would like to?
I can go next. Sorry.
Go for it.
Yeah, no, thank you. To reiterate what everyone said here, thank you very much for the time to present our proposals. You know, this is a wider movement of, you know, transparent democratic governance for initiatives, and I think this represents a really great step forward. Again, Brave is here as the browser of Web3 to really present Cardano and all its strengths to our community, and really to foster a long-term partnership for not only Cardano ecosystem, but for the projects within it as well. So, you know, we're really grateful for the opportunity, and thank you for, you know, helping us get to this level of where we are.
Thanks for what you do over there. Stay awesome, definitely.
Thank you.
Shout out to Proud. Checkpoint, Dan.
Yes, like everyone said, awesome initiative. Definitely love the idea and the funding behind the Fund 12. Super excited about working with Cardano. Our offer in its essence is to start to work on, you know, generating the best security out there in Web3 for Cardano and making Cardano the #1 choice for any enterprise or business that is looking for a secured environment, and, you know, striking this position. And that includes also like the core marketing aspect to our, you know, hundreds of thousands of businesses that use our software, and to the million users that use our software. Yeah, we'd like to make Cardano the most amazing secured blockchain out there.
And if we want to be, then with Checkpoint, it's definitely easier to become. That's for sure. Thanks a lot.
Either how me to next.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, Japan is really open door for the DAO to the Web3 technology, and now Japan is making the guidelines. So we're gonna make the real use case using dApps on Cardano, and also behind it there is the BID system using data prism. And Japan is open door for DAOs founded by the global people. So if you want to make DAOs, so you can make DAOs in Japan, and Japan is ready for the DAO law. So yeah, I'm very keen to have collaboration with you guys. Thank you for having me today.
Thanks a lot for being here, Yuri. Especially at this time, I assume it's not the most comfortable time for Japan. Thanks a lot.
It's 1 a.m. in Japan. So.
Thanks a lot. Japan, living in the future and bringing us there as well, like always. Crazy. What else do we have? Yeah, guys, we don't have a schedule, so it's very much up to you to come on.
Yes, maybe also thank you from my side. It was very nice for me also to see all, let's say, the other colleagues in the other projects delivering great work. So this was very inspiring. I'm representing 2 projects here. Number 1 is Finest. The key message is we want to contribute to bring funding to Cardano projects. So if you vote for this, you basically help the ecosystem grow. Second project is from IAMX and Clue, digital identity in form of a key that you cannot lose. And it brings decentralized trust to Cardano. It means a lot if such a huge entity takes the decision to do this. So in order, if you vote for this project, you bring transactions on our blockchain and real world usage on a very high level. Thank you.
Thanks, Matthias. Tim. Where does Matthias come from? I think about the German, I have the name Matthias coming up. Nothing with what Matthias. This AMX. Also, thanks a lot, mate. What else do we have? Florian, Edward, as you.
Yes. So, yeah, thank you for having us. I think it's really, I'm really happy, and proud to see so many projects being here today. I think really that if we want to boost adoption and utility of the Cardano blockchain, it is a must to deploy strong use case on this blockchain. And I think also to do that, it costs usually a lot of money. And if I have a wish also as a community member, is that more money from the Cardano treasury is allocated to this partnership, because I think really if you want to have this strong use case, it's not a one-man show. It's usually, even in the real world, it's different companies that join force and make things together. And I think it's also, a decision that the community will have to take. Do you prefer to fund 100 projects with a small amount or a few with a big amount? And what is the probability that these few with a big amount have more impact than 100 few where we know many will fail? So my wish as a community member of the Cardano system is that Catalyst also become a kind of, not an incubator for the young seed, but really a growth accelerator for mature projects.
We'll check on your vision there. And it's doing it. It's doing it. Catalyst is, and mostly through projects like here, right? Everybody here is part in taking it to the next level. Then who else do we have?
Edward, please. You wanted to speak, please, Edward.
Yeah, thank you. No, I just wanted to say I really appreciate this opportunity to present. It's an honor to be considered for an equity injection for actually creating a partnership with Cardano. I think if you're really trying to create a solution that's going to bring billions of new members to the Cardano community, you have to provide solutions that have a major impact on the world. That I believe tokenization of real world assets has that impact. RedSwan is market ready. We've been doing this for a long time. We've tokenized over $9 billion worth of assets. And I think voting for us would actually help us to attract a platform that your community members will definitely use and appreciate and benefit from. Having ADA, they'll be able to have access to global projects We have locations that we're doing business in USA, in Africa, in South Korea. We're coming to Japan in August. So these are, and also the GCC, Middle East. These are all communities where Cardano has strength, and we believe we can add value to that. So really look forward to your vote, your support to be a part of you. And if you need to reach me, I'm always available on LinkedIn. But thank you very much. It's an honor.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. And an honor from our side to have you here, for sure. Then, what else? Or did we got almost everybody? Danny, what would you say as some final words here?
I just wanted to make sure we check in, and I know it's a Saturday. We've been here at 2 hours. We're almost at the end of it. So congratulations, everyone. You've made it. I just wanted to make sure we don't miss out in case he's still able to speak. Piotr, are you from Techstars? Are you still with us? Because I see him on a call, but he might be, driving. Or...
Yes, I am.
Perfect.
Can you hear me correctly? Can you hear me correctly?
Yes, perfect. So go ahead. I think you might be the last one. So, and if not, if there's somebody else on the call, just drop it in the chat and then just come off mute and say it. Piotr, floor is yours. So 2 minutes.
I am. Thank you. I'm sorry. Thank you. Can you just please confirm? Can you hear me correctly? Yeah, I'll just go to a quiet place. It's my son's birthday actually, so I just was
Well,
preparing
happy birthday to little Piotr.
Thank you. He's a Lewandowski fan. He's a Barcelona fan. Look, I will turn on my camera in a second. Just let me introduce myself. So I've been a founder for 15 years. I've built startups in Europe and Latin America, and I joined Techstars. And effectively, we are an investor, but we're a very specific kind of investor. We invest as early as possible, exclusively early, and we help founders from ideation stage to investment readiness and to the moment we deploy checks. We did that 4,500 times over the course of the last 17 years. And the opportunity we see when we are looking at the Cardano ecosystem is to help your builders. We're all about helping founders. And from a Cardano perspective, it is about ensuring that grants and funds the Project Catalyst is deploying, I think 4,600 companies already, will effectively turn into projects that will build companies and sustainable companies. And this is the only focus we have. Now, from a Techstars perspective, what we'll teach those founders is ensuring that someone will use the solution. We had a conversation with Felix earlier. Does it need to be investment ready? Well, it needs to go to enrich product market fit. They need to understand the business model they will be using, who will pay for their service, and how to scale it effectively. If we want to reach 1 billion users for Web3, at the end of the day, it's market adoption. And market adoption goes through product market fit. It goes through scale. It goes through building companies out of great products. And maybe to wrap it up, a parallel we're using, which might be a bit weird, but working with academics, we're looking at the very same challenges. Very great science-backed companies, very great technologies built on campus in universities for 15, 20 years sometime. How do we take this from lab to market? Well, this is exactly what we want to do here. How do we take those technologies, those products your builders are developing from lab to market? How do we ensure someone wants to use them? Which is real world integration at the end of the day. So I'm happy to dive more into the details, but I think Techstars wants to support founders. And if it helps the Cardano actually ecosystem get the next 1 billion users, they will de-risk all of the funds Project Catalyst is deploying since 12 funds already, right? And the 70 million deployed for 1,600 companies.
Nice. Thanks a lot, Piotr. And you look kind of futuristic there with the planet background and the white shed.
I'm switching from my Mac to my phone, and like my 8-year-old son is like saying, okay, at some point you have to stop working there, but I'm really glad I'm here. And I think it's a fantastic initiative connecting all of these real world integration companies into Web3. I'm a Web2 founder. This piece is missing. There's something missing in between the Web2 users and the Web3 ecosystem. And maybe this is it.
I think actually to this point, I think one of the differences are calls like today. We don't look each other as competitors actually in this regard. We are collaborators. I think what brings us together is really a larger mission, right? Where we say, hey, it's not only about the tools we are building. These tools ideally amplify something larger, right? And to say welcome to the future, being brave and crazy enough to say, hey, okay, let's not only dream about it, let's build it actually. And let's do this ideally together. I think we live in a time where such opportunities like these ones here are stronger than ever before. And I also think people like you're all very skilled people. And I think you also have a certain responsibility. There's some very unique skill sets here united in yourself. You are able to take responsibility not only for yourself, but for what you call projects, companies, ideas, visions. And even if not getting funded this time, let's try to leave calls and voting processes like this to say, hey, we met some brothers from another mothers, I think is what how the hippies call it, or something like this here, right? And that's more than just tools and tech. That's something where, yeah, the bright minds of our time come together and define how we actually want to define economy, society, and governance. Not for the people of our time, but for those to come after us. And therefore, thanks a lot. Special shout out to Seira, Yoram. You play awesome roles in sacrificing yourself to supporting, onboarding, engaging projects. Lots of invisible work, mostly done voluntarily. You are crazy because you work more than time exists, actually. I'm not sure how you do it, but you do it awesome. Also, thanks a lot, Hinson and Kinson from Sedan Labs here, who streamed the thing to their community. Same to Roberto for Andamio. This year is what we call Catalyst community events. So just crazy community coming quickly together to figure out how to support everything going on in the ecosystem. Thanks a lot, Danny and Kriss, for steering Catalyst. Since 3 years, what a ride. And we are still in the beginning, still on early days. You're doing an awesome job. And thanks to everybody. You're awesome. Stay awesome.
And thanks to Felix, obviously. Thank you for coordinating and making it happen.
Yeah, thank you, Felix.
Thanks, Felix. Yeah.
Always jumping in to help. Thank you very much.
Yep. With this, I think we can stop to scream and do the real cool stuff, actually, because this is then actually where the call is on for the next 2 hours.
Yeah, I stopped streaming.
Okay, let me do the same.
Thank you.
Do the same.